I woke up from emergency cancer surgery to a text from my son. Locks changed. Don't come back. My name is Chuck Davis. 29 years of being a father ended in 8 words. While I lay unconscious with tubes down my throat, Roger was at Home Depot picking out new deadbolts. His plan was simple. Dump the dying janitor in a state-run nursing home and tell his wealthy girlfriend's family that Dad was already gone. $1,000 every single month for the last 20 years to the children's cancer ward where I pushed a mop. For 2 decades, I had been Indianapolis's largest anonymous donor. Roger thought he was locking out a helpless cancer patient. Instead, he had just declared war on the man who actually owned his house, paid his bills, and controlled a $4.6 million trust fund that Roger didn't even know existed. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I made one phone call. That call taught my son the most expensive lesson of his life. The message arrived at 11:23 a.m., while I was still under sedation. Locks changed. Don't come back. Time for the nursing home, old man. 14 words that erased 29 years in seconds. Roger had been planning this for months. I saw it in the way he refused to look at me in my hospital custodial uniform. Last Christmas, when his girlfriend Emma asked what I did, Roger said I was between jobs, while I stood right there in the faded blue shirt with my name stitched on it, he told her later. Through the thin apartment walls, that Dad was embarrassed about his situation. My 20 years of steady work reduced to something shameful. He started meeting me 3 blocks from his office so no one would see the old Honda. When Emma's parents came to dinner, he hid my work clothes and told me to dress nice for once. You don't understand the pressure, he'd snap. These people expect a certain image. The cancer bills made it worse. Stage 4 treatment is brutal on the wallet. Roger saw the statements and decided I was draining him. Never mind that I had paid his BMW lease for 3 years straight. Never mind the $847. I sent him every month to keep his mortgage current. You're costing me everything, he said the week before surgery. I can't keep carrying dead weight. Dead weight. That's what 29 years earned me. So while I fought for my life in the ICU, my only child was at the hardware store buying a $30 lock to solve his problem. Tuesday morning, I called from my hospital bed. His voice was calm, almost happy. It's for your own good. Dad, I found a nice state facility that takes Medicaid. What about my things? That old TV? The thrift store couch? Trust me, you won't need much where you're going. Then he added, almost as an afterthought, Emma's parents fly in Friday for the engagement party. I can't have you limping around in that uniform making everyone uncomfortable. Engagement party. My son was building a new life and I wasn't invited. I stared at the water-stained ceiling tiles while the heart monitor beeped. 61 years old, stage 4 cancer, and suddenly homeless. Roger had made one fatal mistake. He assumed the janitor had no power left. Thursday morning, I had nowhere to go. My lease said 30 days notice. Roger gave me 0. My 74-year-old landlady met me at the door, shaking her head at the new locks. I'm sorry, Chuck. Your son showed me power of attorney papers. Said the cancer made you incompetent. Power of attorney. He'd been busy while I was unconscious. I stood in the hallway holding a plastic hospital bag full of pills that needed refrigeration and an oxygen machine with a 6-hour battery. Roger knew all of that. The cruelty was deliberate. I called him one last time. You can't just throw me out on the street. You're not my responsibility anymore, he said, cold and rehearsed. The state facility has everything. Meals, nurses, cable TV. You'll be comfortable. Comfortable. That's what he called disappearing an inconvenient father. Then he delivered the final blow. Emma's family thinks I'm an orphan. I told them my dad died years ago. It was easier. Orphan. In Roger's new story, I had been dead for a decade. That was the moment I stopped asking and started acting. Friday morning, I went back to the hospital for a follow-up. The receptionist almost fell out of her chair. Mr. Davis! We weren't expecting you so early. Let me call upstairs. In 20 years, no one had ever offered to call upstairs for the janitor. Nurses I'd worked beside for decades suddenly knew my name. Chuck, we've been so worried. Dr. Martinez wants to see you personally after your appointment. Dr. Martinez, the hospital CEO. I was escorted to the executive floor I had only ever cleaned after hours. Sarah Martinez stood when I entered. came around the desk, and shook my hand like I belonged there. Because I did. She opened a thick folder labeled Davis Charles Donor Relations. "Chuck, some paperwork has been waiting for your signature far too long." On the table were legal documents, quarterly distribution forms, and plans for a new pediatric wing with my late wife's name on it. My phone buzzed. "Roger," I answered on speaker. "Dad, where are you? You missed the transport van." "I'm at the hospital, follow-up appointment. The facility is waiting. I already paid the deposit." "Roger, Dr. Peterson says he never signed any power of attorney papers." Long silence. "You're confused." "Dad, the medication—" "I'm in Dr. Martinez's office right now," I said quietly. "The hospital administrator—" Another silence, longer this time. "Why would the CEO want to see a janitor?" "That's a very good question," I answered. Then Dr. Martinez spoke. "Miss Blackwood is here too." "Roger. She just learned about the Davis Family Foundation. Your mother's trust. The $4.6 million, the $2 million already donated, and the new wing dedication next month. I heard Roger's future collapse on the other end of the line. Saturday morning, Emma called me herself. She and her parents had taken an unscheduled tour of the Children's Hospital. The guide had proudly shown them the Davis family wing. The plaque read, "In loving memory of Margaret Davis, and in continued honor of her husband Charles and son Roger." Emma put Dr. Martinez on the phone. She confirmed everything. The trust, the donations, the fact that I owned Roger's house through an LLC and had been his landlord for 4 years without him knowing. That night was the engagement party at Morton's. I arrived 30 minutes late, wearing the only good suit I own, the one I buried my wife in. I carried 3 folders and a certified check. "Roger," I said, loud enough for the entire room to hear. I handed him the first folder. "30-day notice to vacate the house you've been renting from me." Second folder. "Complete accounting of every dollar. I ever sent you $340,000 principal plus interest. Due in 30 days. Third folder. Your immediate disinheritance from your mother's trust." The room was silent. Roger's legs buckled. He sat down hard. Emma's father stepped forward. Richard Blackwood looked at the documents, then at his daughter, then at Roger. The locks on Roger's house were changed again, this time by my property manager. Tuesday, his credit cards were declined. Wednesday, the BMW was repossessed. Thursday, he was fired. Friday, he started working the register at a gas station for $12 an hour. 2 weeks after he tried to throw his dying father away, Roger was living in his car. 3 months later, he called from the hospital parking lot. Roger was in the middle of a toast about being self-made. "I came to give you the independence you asked for." Monday, I waited until he finished, then walked straight to him. "Dad, I made a terrible mistake." "I'm sorry. Can we start over?" I looked out the window and saw his old BMW dented and dirty. "Roger," I said, "I'm dying." "Cancer doesn't give second chances." "But you're 29. You still have time to become the man your mother and I raised, not the one who threw his father away for appearances." I hung up. Some lessons are too expensive to learn any other way. Roger wanted independence. He got it, and it cost him everything.